Well, the new year means a new season of Summit League hoops. How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elson, and this is Coyote Corner. The South Dakota men enjoyed a solid non-conference season, which saw them win 9 games before Christmas for the first time since 2007. The next goal would be to carry that momentum into conference play. The Yotes haven't fared well in Summit League openers, winning just once in their first 5 tries. Thursday, Craig Smith and company got their chance to change that against Omaha. The Mavericks had taken 3 of the last 4 meetings from the Coyotes, including the last 2 in Vermilion. Very different story this time around, though. Trey Dickerson sets the tone early. Start of an 8-0 run to open the game. Dickerson would go on to record a season-high 17. South Dakota kept its foot on the gas. Matt Mooney with one of his 3 first-half trays. Yotes led by 22 at the break. Mavs try to get running in the second. Tradeon Holland scores in transition to get them within 16, but that's as close as they would get. Tyler Flack helped make sure of that. Flack, who left the game briefly with a knee injury, came back to score 12 straight points over a 2-minute span, capping it off with this nifty alley-oop from Trey Birch Manning. Flack tallied 16 for the game, and the Coyotes win their Summit League opener for the first time in 3 years, 86-69. South Dakota would close the book on 2016 Saturday with a New Year's Eve showdown at South Dakota State. Second half, Coyotes start to climb out of a 12-point hole. Carlton Hurst with the steal and the slam. Hurst scored 13 on the day. The threes started to fall as well. Matt Mooney and Trey Dickerson each connect from outside. Yotes hit 8 threes on the day, 7 of them after the break. Later, Trey Birch Manning takes things back inside. He rattles the rim as well. The Yotes outscored State 24-8 over the first 9 minutes of the second half to take a 51-43 lead. Back come the Jacks, though. Reed Tellinghusen sparks an 8-0 run with his 3rd 3 of the day. He had 11. Final minute, State up 2, but not anymore. Birch Manning converts the 3-point play to put USD back in front 72-71 with 11 seconds remaining. But that was more than enough time for Mike Dahm. The Summit League's preseason player of the year scores the last of his 30 points with 2.8 seconds left, and SDSU escapes USD 73-72. Well, a split isn't what the Yotes were hoping for, but there was still plenty of positives to pull from the opening week of Summit League play. We'll cover some of those points with head coach Craig Smith when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, and your Core Trust Bank.
Well, as we just showed you, the South Dakota men settled for a split to open the Summit League schedule. For more on that, we turn now to head coach of the Coyotes, Craig Smith. And Craig, not a lot of success for USD in conference openers, just 1-4 coming into this one against Omaha. Not to mention that you dropped 3 of the last 4 to the Mavericks. So how important was it to you and your team to just reverse those trends right off the start?
Well, it was huge for us. A big goal for our team is we really got to take care of business at home. We have not been a great home team for the last couple of years, and our guys take a lot of pride in this place. I mean, just look around. It's a pretty impressive facility that way, but it's always important to take care of business at home, and certainly we got off to the right start.
Yeah, I mean, that first half was something else. Best 20 minutes, you think?
Yeah, without a question. Our guys just had a different look to them. We had 2 great practices coming back from the Christmas break, and you never know how that's going to go. But the day before the game, we had a fantastic practice, and our guys just had a great look to them in the locker room. In our pregame speech, I came out and said to the assistants, like, well, how was warm-ups? And all the coaches were like, Coach, they are locked in. It was the best we've had all year, and it showed the way we played the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, as good as you played in that first half. I'm sure you expected the Mavs to make a run, and they tried. But unlike last year, when they were able to complete a big comeback in your building, your guys weathered the storm.
They did. You know, Omaha is always one of those teams, you know, if you're down 15, you feel like you can always get back into it. And if you're up 15, you always feel like they can get back into it. They can score points in a hurry. Their spurt ability has always been at a high level. And so I thought our guys did a good job of running the offense, dictating the tempo in not allowing our offense to be their best offense,
Sure.
and that was the key to the victory.
Scary moment at the midway point of the second half. Tyler Flack went down with an apparent knee injury. What happened on that play? I never got a good look at it.
Tristan Simpson ripped it and drove left baseline and kind of was going up, and they ended up colliding bodies, and somebody fell into Tyler's knee, and he fell down. And obviously, the whole arena came to a silent gasp and stoppage, and Tyler went out, was able to come back and ripped off 12 straight for us. And really, because they were starting to make a run and they were pressing, and we advanced it up, and Tyler made a big three and then ended up having 9 more in a row.
He looked good there, so it was a surprise to a lot of us when he did not play at South Dakota State on Saturday. So what was the story?
He didn't practice the next day on Friday, and he went to shoot around on Saturday morning and just didn't do a whole lot. And I kind of made fun of him during walkthrough because he did walk through, and it was a slow walk at that. I thought he might need to pull out the wheelchair. But we knew it was going to be a game-time decision, and went out there and just decided he couldn't go. So that's how it goes in athletics. You're rarely going to play with your full complement of players throughout the whole season, and that's why you have 15 guys on the roster and the next man up mentality.
Yeah, and Austin Sparks was that next man for you. In terms of X's and O's for this game, after a slow start to the season, the Jackrabbits had strung some wins together as of late after they committed to that zone defense. And of course, one thing you've got to do against the zone is make some shots, and that wasn't happening for you in the first half.
Well, especially not the first half. We went 1 for 16 from the 3, and that's going to be a struggle when you do that, no matter if a team's playing man or zone. I felt like we really settled, though. I didn't think we took great shots as a whole. We just didn't get downhill in an attack mode. And then you look at the second half where we shoot 50% from the 3, 7 for 14, but I thought we just took much better shots as a whole. And our guys need to understand good shots from not as good shots, and we just got to do a better job coaching that.
Of course, down 37-25 at the half. You come all the way back, lead by as many as 8 in the second half. But this one, of course, would go down to the wire. Lots of action in the final 15 seconds, starting with a big 3-point play from Trey Birch-Manning.
Yeah, a huge play. We made some great play. We really threw some haymakers to start the second half and really got in a great rhythm and got downhill. We were fighting some foul issues the whole game, and so we were putting some guys in some different positions, but I thought our guys handled that very well. Trey Birch-Manning, Mooney drives baseline, makes a great find to Trey Birch-Manning, gets a great and one, and they come down and run their play that they always run late game, and our guys knew it was coming. I thought we did a great job defending it, and Dom was still able to put the ball through the hole.
And disappointing loss for sure, but what did that effort, minus Flack, teach you about your team?
Well, I think we got fighters. I think we got guys that know how to win. I think we have guys that really want to compete and really want to bring this program to a level it's never been to in Division I. And we just got to learn to play consistently throughout a game. We are fighting not fighting, but we have a lot of youth and inexperience, so you're going to have some of that sometimes. But what I really like is I feel like we're getting better. I feel like every night out, our guys are playing better on both ends of the floor. I think we have a lot of pride defensively, and we're starting to figure out some things offensively and guys settling into their roles.
All right, well, thanks again for your thoughts, Craig. Appreciate your time as always. We'll catch back up with you next week.
Sounds great, Jay. Thank you.
All right, well, coming up, the South Dakota women tested twice at home to open the conference season. We'll recap their matchups with Denver and SDSU next. And welcome back. Well, the South Dakota women won 11 of their first 13 games, setting the program's new Division I standard for non-conference play. Wednesday, things would start to count for a little more as the Coyotes began defense of their latest Summit League title against Denver. Now, this was actually the third time in 4 years that the Yotes and Pioneers had squared off in the conference opener. We pick it up second quarter. South Dakota down 1, but not for long. Bridget Arns goes baseline. She scored 12 points on the night. Her kid sister also played well. Allison throws it and drive and gets 3 the old-fashioned way. Coyotes led 32-26 at the half. They'd start to pull away in the third. Kira Duffy with a deep 3, her only field goal of the night, helped USD stretch the lead to as many as 11. Hold on, though. Pios hung tough. Fourth quarter, Samantha Romanowski connects for 3 of her team-high 15, and it's a 4-point game. Moments later, Denver chips away again. Sierra Morgan finds Jessie Spatel for the deuce, and it's 59-57 USD. The Yotes, though, managed to quell the comeback, and they did it with free throws. South Dakota goes 12 for 13 at the stripe over the final 2 minutes, and they hold off Denver 70-64. Allison Arns pacing USD yet again, finishing with 28 points, 11 rebounds for her first career double-double. But her biggest accomplishment came at the free throw line. Arns went 18 for 20, which is a new single-game record at USD. Arns and company back in action Saturday, hosting arch rivals South Dakota State. Coyotes down 11 to start the third quarter, but that would change in a hurry. First possession, J.C. Bradley hits the three ball from the corner pocket. Yotes keep chipping away with Allison Arns, beats the help defense to bring USD within 5. Late in the quarter now, how about Bradley again? This one off a feed from Arns. Yotes up 48-46 after 3. Momentum stayed in their corner to start the fourth. Arns one more time. That brings the USD lead to 6. She scored 17 of her game-high 24 in the second half. Jack's not done yet, though. Sydney Palmer hits her third triple of the day. That ties the game at 57. Under 2 minutes to play now. Yotes get a big bucket from the other Arns. Spank is open for Bridget, and USD is back in front by 2. Last play now. USD up 3. SDSU with one last chance. Great look for Ellie Thompson, but her potential game-tying shot rims off, and the Coyotes hold on for their third straight regular season victory over the Jackrabbits. 65-62 the final. So a hard-fought week, but a successful one for the Coyote women. We'll dig a little deeper into their 2-0 start with help from head coach Dawn Plitzawhite after this. Well, Dawn Plitzawhite and the Coyote women scored a sweep to start Summit League play, and USD's first-year head coach kind enough now to join us to talk about her team's successful week. And Dawn, Denver came in here as a pretty significant underdog, but as champions tend to do, you got their best shot. The Pioneers brought a hard-nosed approach, particularly on the defensive end. Did you expect the kind of physicality you saw from them?
Well, we haven't seen that on film out of them. I thought Denver played a very inspired game. Their head coach wasn't with them on the trip. Her mother had passed away, and our condolences to Carrie Kremens and her family. That's really tough to go through. I thought the Denver Pioneers came in and played a very aggressive, very physical battle. And I thought we had some really good looks early in the game. We had 4 or 5 layup opportunities early. We were 1 for 5. Then it got really physical. So those things didn't really work in our favor, but our kids weathered the storm and found a way to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of those nights where the offense just a little bit tougher to come by. Denver certainly contributed to that with that defense, but the shots just kind of weren't falling consistently, even when you did have those good looks, as you mentioned. And the good news is, though, you did a lot of other things well, specifically rebounding and free throw shooting.
Well, I think our kids have really been focused since probably the Stephen F. Austin and Arkansas games, which were early in the season, on understanding that we need to be a very good rebounding team. We need to limit teams to one shot. And really offensively for us, when things aren't going well, it's a great way to get yourself into rhythm. Get an offensive rebound, get another opportunity, get back to the free throw line by getting an offensive rebound. And those are 2 areas that I think our kids have done a very good job, as you mentioned, at the free throw line and on the boards.
Yeah, one of the players that shot it particularly well at the stripe was Allison Arns. She made 18 free throws in this game. That breaks a 35-year-old school record. But if there's a part of that that's most impressive, it's the fact that she was 12 for 12 in the fourth quarter, and you needed them all.
We did. I thought she played very well. She draws a lot of attention. She got to the rim. She got fouled on a number of opportunities, converted in those situations. But to get to the free throw line 20 times in a game is that's really special.
You led by as many as 11 points in the second half, but the Pioneers did battle you all the way to the end. Good to be tested like that right out of the gate in conference play?
Absolutely. Very good to be tested. We had a long Christmas break. We had 5 full days off. We came back after Christmas. The weather was a little bit tough for us early on. We had 2 days to get ready, and really a day and a half for some of our kids. And so really to be tested early is good for us. To be tested and come out on top is great for us. And so for our kids, I think it gave us a hunger to continue into the next game, which is really important.
Yeah, and you get another big test on Saturday as South Dakota State came to town. The Jackrabbits without their top 2 players for this game. But we saw just how much talent they still have to work with.
Well, they do, and we've talked about it a number of times. In the preseason, polls of the top 12 players, I guess, in the conference. 5 of them are on South Dakota State's team. And so certainly they've got a lot of talent. And I think that what they're doing right now is figuring out how to play without Macy Miller and a little bit without Clarissa Ober, although we anticipate that she'll be back.
Tough first half for you against that vaunted Jackrabbits defense. How were they able to disrupt the flow of your offense?
Well, I thought they really got physical with us. They were really pressuring us. They really made us beat them by taking the ball to the basket. And I thought our kids didn't really get into a flow offensively the same way we have in other games, but continued to attack. And I thought that was a really good thing. We got to the free throw line quite a bit in the first half, got a couple of their kids in foul trouble. In the second half, it really changed. It was a totally different game because they were very cognizant of not fouling. It took a little bit of the pressure off. I thought our kids did a little bit better job attacking, so it was kind of a combination. So the first half, we shot a lot of free throws. Second half, neither team really shot free throws. But I thought both teams made adjustments. Both teams were trying to play very sound defense, play very clean basketball.
Yeah, big third quarter for you. Came all the way back to take a 48-46 lead after 3. I guess we shouldn't be surprised by anything Allison Arns does at this point, but that killer instinct that she's got has become pretty evident. She was the catalyst once again for you, scoring 17 of her game-high 24 in the second half.
Well, she's a kid that can score in three different spots. She can get to the rim, actually 4 different spots if you include the free throw line. But she can get to the rim and she can finish. She can pull up and she can shoot. She shoots it well beyond the arc. And she's a kid that's been able to get to the free throw line and score it from there. So she's a kid that we've had the ball in her hands a lot during the later game situations and let her create. She created great opportunities, dump down pass for Abby Fogg, kick out for Abby Fogg, kick out for Madison McKeever. So that list kind of keeps going on and on, but she does a lot of very good things for us.
Led by as many as 6 points in the fourth quarter, SDSU did come back to tie it a couple of different times down the stretch. That made for a pretty intense final couple of minutes. So where were the emotions at when you saw that final shot roll off?
Oh, well, I think we were pretty fortunate, certainly, that it didn't go in. Our kids were really, really cognizant of Madison Giebert. We're not giving her an opportunity. She hit one the possession before, and it was a tough shot.
Yes, it was.
With Allison Arns in her face, almost blocking her shot. Madison actually kind of faded away just a little bit, still made it. Our kids were really, really maybe over-cognizant, but very aware that she wasn't going to get the last shot. You know, I think what we learned from that, we have a 3-point lead, 10 seconds to go. We were trying to slow the game, or elongate the game, slow them down a little bit, try to use a couple of the fouls that we had yet to give. But those are situations we really haven't been in a lot, and we fouled a little bit too early. So those are things that we can learn from that game.
All right, well, it's a great start. 2-0 is where everyone wants to be through 2 games. So congrats to you and your ladies on that achievement. And we'll see you back here next week.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dawn. Well, Kyle, sophomore J.C. Bradley, one of the top 3-point snipers in the Summit League, but her best shots aren't necessarily limited to the basketball court. We'll have more on her not-so-hidden talent when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, and your Core Trust Bank.
And welcome back. Well, she picked up photography as a hobby and creative outlet from basketball, but sophomore guard J.C. Bradley seems to be just as sharp behind the lens as she is behind the arc. Kelly Stewart has more on Bradley's off-the-court talent.
Photography is oddly similar to basketball. Of course, there are a variety of shots, long range to short range, and it's all about having the right focus. Seems to be right up J.C. Bradley's alley.
Ever since I was little, I've loved taking pictures. I had a digital camera when I was younger. I think I saved up like probably some birthday money or Christmas money or something to buy that.
Fast forward a few years and Bradley saved up a little more money to get a nicer camera and enrolled in a photography class at USD.
Just kind of an introductory to digital photography. It taught the basics, like stuff like that, like shutter speed and aperture, but just being able to practice with teammates and other friends back at home, you just kind of learn as you go, and I kind of taught myself a lot, and you still learn every time you shoot, so it's really fun.
From senior pictures to sports photography, Bradley has dabbled in it all.
And then I've done some family pictures for Coach Russ and his wife. That was also really fun. They have a baby son, Cam, so that made it really fun to take pictures of them too.
As much as Bradley loves sports, her camera might not. The motion makes things a bit more difficult.
I like doing still stuff better just because it's a little easier. Sports photography is really fun. I don't think I quite have the right equipment to do that yet, but I just love shooting people in general, and I think just being able to capture their emotions while playing basketball, or just getting like candid shots of them in their everyday lives if it's not sports.
But any photographer knows there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work to get the finished product. Sounds a little similar to the sport Bradley loves.
Editing is a long process, but it's kind of fun. The raw image usually isn't what you want it to be, so you just kind of have to have a picture in your head of what you want to create the picture.
And if we're talking hoops, there are going to be bad practices and missed shots, but it's all part of the process.
There's good days and bad days with my camera, and that just comes with more practice too. I mean, I'm not where I want to be yet with my photography skills, but I don't know, I just kind of do it for fun, and if the pictures turn out great, then that's awesome. If they don't, then just gotta try again.
Although Bradley doesn't plan to make a career out of photography, she wants to continue shooting as a hobby and says the most rewarding part about it is meeting and building connections with new people. Jay?
All right, thank you, Kelly. Well, it's another big week coming up for South Dakota hoops. Both teams starting on the road. The women are at North Dakota State tonight, while the men play at Denver. Saturday will mark the first Summit League doubleheader of the season as IUPUI makes its first appearance at the Sanford Coyote Sports Center. The women's matchup is set for 1 p.m. with the men to follow about 3:15. 3 of those games can be seen live right here on Midco SN. All right, that is our time for this week. For Kelly Stewart, I'm Jay Elson. We'll see you back here next week for another episode of Coyote Corner.